Come to the South, do some dumb shit, get smoked, and next thing you know, everybody looking around. They got all the guns in the South, bro. They do. They laws is different. They do. Shit, Texas got defensive property. You breaking my car, I get to shoot you. That don't exist nowhere else.
Little Tim was already one of the most disliked names tied to Chicago long before he was allegedly caught slipping in Texas last night. The street's been locked in, waiting on this moment, because his name has stayed in the middle of nonstop tension since 2020. That's when King Von lost his life. And after that, Tim was accused of trolling heavy online, moving reckless, and pouring gas on a situation that was already wild. People didn't forget, and the internet sure didn't let it slide either. FamLaw, Tim, real name Timothy Leaks, is a street dude from Savannah, Georgia, who somehow became public enemy #1 to a whole section of Chicago and loyal King Von supporters. He wasn't even supposed to be in that moment. But when you move alongside Quando Rondo, you already know trouble can follow fast. Savannah raised him tough, no shortcuts, no safety net. Down there, the rules are simple. Stand firm or get pushed around, and Tim learned that early. Back in his hood, Tim had a reputation for never folding under pressure. He was known as the type who wouldn't run from tension, someone who stood tall no matter how heavy things got. Folks around him saw him as a dude who'd rather face the worst head-on than live scared or bow down, and that image followed him everywhere. Once he linked up with Quando Rondo's circle, Tim became that go-to protector, always alert, always ready, always putting his people first at any cost. Quando needed someone solid like Tim nearby because his name was already wrapped up in multiple street issues, especially once the NBA YoungBoy-related drama started boiling over. But everything shifted on November 6, 2020, outside Monaco Hookah Lounge in Atlanta. One decision that night allegedly put a permanent spotlight on Tim, drawing heat from one of Chicago's most dangerous sections. What should have been a normal night turned into a life-defining moment. And the wild part, Tim likely didn't even know who King Von truly was at the time. He only saw his guy Quando getting pressed and reacted like a loyal soldier would, stepping in to protect his people. No hesitation. But by stepping in that night, Tim unknowingly sparked a full-blown war with one of Chicago's most feared crews. The tension between Little Tim and OBlock runs way deeper than that single moment in Atlanta. No exaggeration at all. This situation was already bubbling because of the long-running issues between King Von's circle and Quando Rondo, and that energy had been building for months before anything exploded. Every interaction, every mention just made the air thicker and heavier. King Von wasn't just another rapper catching buzz. He was OBlock royalty, raised in that environment, coming up alongside Chief Keef and Lil Durk. What made Von different was that rare mix. Real street respect plus real music success. He wasn't just talking, he was living it, and people knew that. Von was bringing serious money back to the block through his music while still holding on to a reputation that made even tough dudes pause. So when Tim allegedly took that away outside the hookah lounge, it wasn't viewed as just another loss. To OBlock, that was their golden boy, their big hope, their money ticket, gone in seconds.
Yeah, Rick and Sean, according to GBI, rapper King Von and his group were at Opium nightclub before making their way here to Monaco Hookah Lounge, then to the parking lot where chaos ensued.
And on top of everything else, King Von was seen as a protector and a major figure all wrapped into one. The entire block felt that loss deep because Von represented their pride, their grind, and everything they stood on. To them, he wasn't just a rapper. He was the symbol of where they came from and where they were headed. Losing him shook the whole foundation, and that pain never faded. Since that moment, people connected to OBlock have been openly focused on getting payback. Letting something like that slide was never an option, especially when it involved Von. This wasn't just about street politics anymore. This turned personal real fast. The energy shifted from talk to action and the pressure stayed high non-stop. What really showed how serious things got was what went down in 2022. Authorities connected 3 OBlock members to an alleged attempt to track Tim down, and Tim himself ended up arrested in Atlanta on a separate situation involving a stolen vehicle. That moment exposed just how intense the situation had become. This wasn't online noise. People were allegedly risking everything out of loyalty. They didn't back off, didn't cool down, and that determination is exactly what's been pushing this situation forward ever since. What really sent things over the edge is how little Tim allegedly kept trolling non-stop after that night instead of staying low like most people would. After an incident involving someone as respected as King Von, most folks would disappear. But Tim did the total opposite. He leaned into the chaos, dropping music that appeared to mock Von's passing and openly clown what he framed as OBlock's failed attempts to reach him. That level of boldness shocked a lot of people watching from the sidelines. Instead of explaining himself or moving quietly, Tim's lyrics came off like straight celebration. He wasn't just standing on his actions, he was turning them into punchlines, laughing off the tension and acting untouched by the backlash. That kind of energy hit OBlock differently because it felt personal, not defensive. He even referenced the Atlanta night at parties and online, brushing off any talk of consequences like it was nothing. That type of disrespect doesn't fade, it stacks up. Using King Von's death as repeated wordplay in songs and captions pushed things further every time. Posting knowing it would trigger a reaction made it clear Tim wasn't backing down. That ongoing taunting is what really kept this situation boiling and made the tension impossible to ignore. This non-stop trolling is what's really been driving OBlock up the wall. It's one thing to explain yourself after a situation, but it's a whole different level to keep poking the bear with music and posts. Tim has been acting like King Von's death is some kind of badge, and that's exactly what pushed emotions past the breaking point. To them, it wasn't just disrespect, it felt like open taunting. People connected to OBlock have shown they're willing to risk everything just for a chance to catch him. From a survival angle, Tim's moves are calculated. By staying loud and visible, he makes it harder for anyone to move quietly around him. But at the same time, that strategy keeps pouring pressure onto an already explosive situation. The streets and the internet made it clear how deep this really goes. King Von supporters across the country have been watching closely, waiting on accountability. Every new diss track or slick post sparks comment sections filled with warnings and predictions, making it obvious this tension never cooled down. It only kept climbing. But it wasn't just fans choosing sides. Other rappers started lining up too. Lil Durk, who many saw as a big brother figure to King Von, began dropping clear subliminal shots aimed at Tim and Quando Rondo's circle. Tracks like Piss Me Off and Back Door had lines that everyone caught immediately, even without names being said. In Chicago, those messages didn't go unnoticed at all. The Chicago rap scene slowly treated Tim like someone nobody wanted around. Artists who usually stay neutral made it clear they stood with Von's memory because his respect went way beyond OBlock. Von had love across the entire city, not just one block. Meanwhile, Tim still had backing from people in Georgia and certain NBA YoungBoy supporters who saw this as part of a larger industry divide. But that support didn't shield him from the pressure coming his way. Social media turned this situation into non-stop surveillance. Every song drop, every post, every caption got picked apart by fans hunting for clues. It felt like the whole hip-hop world was watching live, waiting on the next move. Then last night, everything exploded. The streets started buzzing after reports surfaced online claiming Tim was allegedly caught slipping in Texas and shot multiple times. Social media lit up with rumors saying people connected to OBlock finally caught up with him, sending shockwaves through the internet instantly. The way that news hit the timeline was straight chaos. It all started with a single tweet that looked official enough to fool people, and within minutes it spread everywhere. Nobody stopped to verify anything because the story sounded way too believable. Tim had been bouncing between states, and Texas felt like a place where something like that could realistically happen. King Von's supporters went into full celebration mode almost instantly. People were blasting Von's music, posting throwbacks, and claiming justice finally caught up. The narrative online flipped fast. Folks were saying Von got his get back from beyond, and Tim finally faced consequences after years of alleged disrespect toward Von's name. As the rumors grew, the details got wilder by the second. Some posts claimed he was caught outside a club. Others said it went down at a gas station. A few even added dramatic extras, like a King Von song supposedly playing during the moment, turning it into poetic justice in people's minds. By that point, the streets and the internet were fully convinced OBlock had completed their mission. Fans were posting "Long Live King Von" everywhere, celebrating like it was confirmed. Some reactions crossed the line, showing just how emotional people got. But social media moves fast, and when street stories mix with online hype, the truth usually comes last. The internet eats up a dramatic story every time, especially when it sounds like justice finally caught up. But most of the time, if it feels too perfect, it's probably not real. The biggest red flag was simple. No major news outlets were reporting anything at all. Still, people ran with it until Tim suddenly popped back up on Twitter with one simple hat emoji. Anyone familiar with street-coded social media knew exactly what that meant. That emoji was Tim's way of saying the rumors were cap and he was still breathing. With one post, he flipped the whole narrative and crushed the hopes of a lot of King Von supporters who thought closure finally arrived. It turned out the entire situation came from a fake account just chasing attention. A random page cooked up the Texas shooting story and it spread fast because people wanted it to be true. The account looked official enough, with a believable profile and bio, so folks didn't question it. This is a perfect example of how dangerous social media can be when street issues mix with online hype. False stories move faster than facts, and that can get real people hurt. If anyone had acted on that fake news, things could have spiraled quick. Chasing rumors in real life isn't just messy, it's straight risky. Tim dropping that hat emoji was his loud way of telling everyone he's still alive, still active, and not backing down from anything. It wasn't just a status check, it doubled as another troll aimed straight at his enemies. The message was clear. Even when people think they got him boxed in, he's still standing untouched. The timing made it even crazier. He waited long enough for the rumor to explode before popping out and shutting the whole thing down in one move. Once the fake story collapsed, it exposed how emotionally locked in people really are. A lot of King Von supporters were heated, realizing they got pulled into a rumor with zero confirmation. Some even admitted they played themselves by believing it too fast. That reaction alone showed how deep this situation still cuts. What really stands out is the mental side of this whole conflict. Tim has been playing psychological chess for years now, and that fake news moment was just another layer. By staying loud and visible, he keeps OBlock constantly thinking about him. Every post, every song, every public move acts like a reminder. He's still out here, still moving, while Von's legacy continues to loom over everything. That kind of psychological pressure can push people into desperate moves, but Tim's strategy is wild risky because it keeps him fully in the spotlight instead of disappearing like most would. Usually when someone's wrapped up in a beef this heavy, they try to vanish and start fresh somewhere else. Tim, he's been doing the exact opposite. Every song, every post, every move makes him an even bigger target, and he's clearly aware of it. The fake news incident proved just how hooked everyone is on this drama. Thousands of fans immediately believed the story and celebrated, showing how emotionally invested people really are. This isn't just casual interest. People are living this beef, feeling every twist and turn. OBlock members likely saw that fake news too, and it probably reminded them that the streets are still watching and waiting for them to make a move. The pressure to honor Von isn't only coming from their block. Fans all over the globe are watching. The reality, this war between Little Tim and OBlock isn't going anywhere anytime soon. Tim's been moving smart, hopping states, keeping tight security, but the OBlock energy from 2020 is still alive and dangerous. They still want their come up, and they're not stopping until they get it. And now, with everything public, the stakes are higher than ever. Usually street beef stays locked in the streets, but this saga has been playing out live online and in rap tracks. Every time Tim drops a diss or posts some disrespectful content, it's like throwing gasoline on an already raging fire. The fake news about him getting shot just proved how much everyone is waiting for the story to hit a climax. King Von's fans have been hungry for justice, and OBlock members have been watching for their chance to make moves. The longer this drags on, the more dangerous it gets for everyone involved. Tim might feel untouchable after dodging them for this long, but the streets don't forget, and OBlock certainly hasn't. What happened to Von is still alive in their minds, and they're not letting it slide. It's only a matter of time before something real goes down, and when it does, it won't be some rumor spreading on Twitter. The fact that OBlock members were willing to risk jail back in 2022 showed they aren't playing games. They're ready for action, and they won't let Tim keep disrespecting Von's legacy without facing serious consequences. The tension is real, and the streets are watching every move. At the end of the day, this whole saga is a textbook example of how street beef can spiral completely out of control. What started as a single confrontation outside a hookah lounge has exploded into a years-long war playing out for the world to see. Little Tim might have survived last night's fake news, but make no mistake, the real threat is still very much alive. The fact that thousands immediately believed he got shot shows just how tense the streets and fans still are. King Von's death left a void that OBlock members have been trying to fill with revenge, and Tim's non-stop trolling keeps rubbing salt in that wound. Whether he genuinely thinks he's untouchable or just putting on a front, the reality is clear. Conflicts like this rarely end peacefully. OBlock has too much pride and loyalty to Von to ever just let this slide. And Tim, he's got too much ego to quit trolling and vanish quietly. The streets have been watching every move for years, and everyone knows the story isn't over. Tim can drop all the hat emojis he wants, but that doesn't erase the fact that he's still got a permanent target on his back. The tension isn't slowing down anytime soon. OBlock isn't the type to ever forget about one of their own, their fallen soldier. So even though last night's story was fake, the tension is still very real. Tim might be laughing now, but in the streets, the last laugh usually goes to whoever's still standing when the smoke clears. And right now, both sides still got serious heat for each other. The streets have been waiting on this moment since 2020, and while last night was just a rumor, it proves that when the real action hits, the whole hip-hop world will be watching. Until then, Little Tim better keep his head on a swivel, because OBlock hasn't moved on. And this beef isn't ending with fake Twitter posts. It's going to take something real to close this chapter, and everyone knows it. If you want to keep up with every twist and turn in this saga, make sure you join the Rap Uncovered family right now. Turn on notifications and subscribe, because the streets never sleep, and we're just getting started. We drop heat every single day, and tomorrow's upload is going to be even crazier, even deeper, and absolutely unmissable. Smash that like button, share the video with all your homeboys, and drop your thoughts in the comments. We'll catch you in the next one, right here at Rap Uncovered, where the truth of the streets lives.